For today's lesson, we're going to take a look at properties of exponents notes. So just taking a further look at the laws of exponents based on the rules that we've already worked with. So by the end of this lesson, you'll be able to simplify monomial expressions in which the exponents are integers using the laws of exponents. And you'll be able to simplify a ratio of monomial expressions in which the exponents are integers using the laws of exponents. All right, so taking a look at question 1, it says, what is the area and volume of the following objects? When we look at the rectangle, if we want to look at the area of a rectangle, we always use area equals the A times the B, so your length times your width. Then looking at our square, we know that our area is A squared, and based on exponents, we know that our A has an exponent of 1, and so does our other A. So when you have exponents, you're multiplying them together, the bases together, you add the exponents, hence how we get A squared. And the same over here when we're looking at the area of A cubed, that's going to be A cubed, because of simple factor, we have A times A times A, and we are adding those exponents, so we have A cubed. So taking a closer look at the properties, again, we've worked with these, but just going a little more into depth with the properties, the product of powers, so again, when you're multiplying like bases, you're going to add those exponents. You will have x to the a plus b. So with our example, we have c to the third power and times c to the fifth power. We're going to add them, so we get c8. Quotient of powers, again, dividing like bases, you're going to subtract the exponent, so a minus b. So in this example, we get x squared because we're going to subtract 5 and 3. Power over power, we're just, when we raise a power to another power, we're going to multiply. So this is going to be x to the a times b. Again, multiplying, we get p to the 6th. Power over product. Again, everything inside of the parentheses gets raised to that power. So we have x to the a times y to the a. Okay. For that example, again, we're squaring everything. So we're going to get 3 squared times 4 squared. I'm just going to leave it like that. But if we were working on a problem, we would actually simplify that more. And then a power of a quotient. Again, everything in the parentheses gets raised to the power of a. So we get x to the a divided by y to the a. So again, everything in our parentheses gets raised to the power of 3. So I have a cubed divided by b cubed. Okay. Taking a look at our negative exponents. Again, we don't work with negative exponents. We don't leave negative exponents in our final answer. So here we have x to the negative a. Therefore, that's going to drop to my denominator. And it's going to become 1 over x to the a. Same here with the w to the negative 3. That's going to drop to my denominator, w to the negative 3. Again, if it was, for example, the opposite way, so if it gave us 1 over w to the negative 3, then we would move that to our numerator in order to make it positive. And remember our 0 exponent, anything raised to the power of 0 is 1. And here, this is a perfect example of what I was talking about when they give you a long, or not long, but a more elaborate problem with exponents. So we have a times b squared times c divided by negative 2a cubed, b to the 4th, c to the negative 2. And that's all being raised to the power of 0. Since everything is being raised to the power of 0, it is 1. All right, so let's take a look at some practice problems. Again, it's going to start off pretty simple and then kind of get a little more complex as we continue. So looking at number 1, you have x squared times x cubed times x to the 4th. So again, this is product. So anytime you're multiplying like bases, you are going to add the exponents. So I have that x raised to the power of 2 plus 3 plus 4. So we know that 2 plus 3 gives me 5 plus 4 will give me 9. So I get x to the 9th here as my final answer. For number 2, I have 4x squared y all raised to the power of 3. So remember, everything inside of the parentheses gets raised to the power of 3. So I have 4 gets cubed, my x squared gets raised to the power of 3, and my y gets raised to the power of 3. So I know that 4 cubed is 64. I have x squared raised to the power of 3, so I'm raising a power to another power, so that means I'm going to multiply. So that is x to the 6th. And my y cubed is going to stay the same because remember my y originally had an exponent of 1. So 3 times 1 will just give me 3. And I'll also box this answer as well, and that is a 9. All right, so taking a look at number 3, again, we're raising powers to another power. So I have -2. I'm going to square it, and then I have w squared. So remember, -2 squared is -2 times -2, which gives me 4w squared. For number 4, so again, it was similar to the example that we did yesterday, but I think it was the opposite. But we are raising that second portion to the power of 3. So I'm going to go ahead and simplify the second portion of our problem first, and then take a look at all of it together. So I'm going to raise r to the power of 2, and then I'm going to raise s cubed to the power of 2. So I'm multiplying 2 and 3. So that gives me s to the 6th. Now I'm going to go through and I'm going to simplify. So you see how this r has a -1. So you have a -1 times a +1 because there's a +1 in front of that r. So you have negative. I have r to the power of 1 times r to the power of 2. Add my exponents. I get r cubed. I have s to the power of 1 and s to the power of 6. I'm going to add them. So I get s7. So my final answer is going to be -r cubed s7. So remember that negative r can stay there because, again, the only thing that we don't leave in our final answer are negative exponents. All right, number 5. Number 5 is a division problem. Looks a little bit different because, again, we've started writing divisions like fractions. But, again, you can leave it like this and solve it, or you can set it up like we have been before. So you can go ahead and take 12x to the 8y5 and put that all over -4x squared to the power of 3. Again, if that doesn't bother you, you can leave the question as is. You don't have to rewrite. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and go through and simplify. I have 12 divided by -4, which gives me a -3. I have x to the 8th divided by x squared. Remember, when I am dividing like bases, I subtract the exponents. So I get x to the 6th. And then I have y5 and y3. So I'm going to have I'm going to have 5 minus 3, which gives me y squared. Okay, taking a look at number 6, I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to go through each. So I have 5 divided by 15, which gives me 1/3. So I'm just going to go ahead and put the 3 here. Again, you can put the 1 in the numerator. That is completely fine, but you do not have to. Then I have x to the power of 1 and x to the power of 3. Remember, I am subtracting. One way that helps me is I see that I have the smaller number in the numerator, so I definitely know that I'm going to be leaving that x squared is going to be negative, so I'm going to be leaving that in my denominator. And then I have y fit to the 5th and x to the 8th. Again, my smaller number is in my numerator, so I know that I'm going to be leaving my y base in my denominator because that gives me 3. All right, so if you need to see that broken down a little bit more, again, we know that 5 divided by 15 gives us the 1/3. Then we have 1 minus 3, and we have y to the 5th minus 8. Simplifying, I have 1/3, x to the -3, x to the -2, y to the -3. And again, since I cannot leave the negative exponents in my final answer, I'm going to have 1/3 times x squared y cubed. So remember, those two are the same answer, but just showing you in a more, breaking it down a little bit more to show you. Looking at number 7, going to follow the same steps. Again, I have a quotient. So again, I'm going to divide 36 and 9 first. That gives me 4. And this is where you have to be careful. So remember, with the quotient, we are subtracting our exponents. So with subtracting our exponents, we have to be careful if our exponent is already negative. Okay, so if we take a look at this, we have a to the 8 minus a negative 7. So we have to be careful, because when we subtract a negative, remember, that becomes positive. So therefore we get 4a to the 15. Okay, so be careful. If you have to write it out, there's nothing wrong with writing it out, just to make sure, just to double check behind yourself. All right, looking at number 8, I have 3 times x to the negative 2, y to the negative 4, and 5z. So looking here, I'm not going to be multiplying any powers. I'm not raising a power to another power. I don't have a 0 exponent, and I don't have a quotient. So when I look here, the only thing that I can do is, oh, look, there's a negative 2. There's a negative 4 exponent. Remember, I cannot leave negatives in my final answer. So my 3 and my 5z are going to remain, or z to the 5th, excuse me, are going to remain in my numerator. So my 3 and z to the 5th are going to remain in my numerator. Since my base of x and my base of y both have negative exponents, they're going to drop to the denominator. So I have x squared, y 4. Okay. Taking a look at number 9, again, it's easier to just go through each piece, all right? So I have 20 over 15, all right? So 20 is not divisible by 15, but I know they're both divisible by 5. Yes, they're both divisible by 5. So I can go ahead and divide my 20 by 5, which is 4, and divide my 15 by 5, which is 3. So looking next, I can see that I have that a to the negative 2 in my denominator, but I have no more a's in my numerator, so I'm not going to be using the quotient rule there. But there I am going to be using the negative exponent rule, which means that I cannot leave a negative exponent in my final answer. So that a to the negative 2 is actually going to move to my numerator, so that's going to become a squared. Then I see that I have b squared over b to the 7th. So again, I'm going to subtract those. That's going to give me b to the negative 5th. Therefore, I have to move that down to my denominator. So I have b5. And then I have to be careful with my c, because again, I have c to the negative 4 and c to the negative 3. And remember, I am subtracting those. So that's going to become negative 4 plus 3, which gives me c, which gives me a negative c, which again is going to remain in my denominator. So if you want to see it broken down a little bit more, we can see that with b, we have b raised to the power of 2 minus 7, which gives us b to the negative 5. So therefore, we cannot leave that in our numerator. It goes to our denominator. Then with c, we have c to the negative 4 minus a negative 3. That becomes a plus, which becomes c to the negative 4 plus 3, which gives me c to the negative 1. Therefore, that cannot stay in my numerator. It has to go to my denominator. Okay. Looking at number 10, I have everything raised to the power of negative 1. So I have a4, b3, all being raised to the power of 1. And I have a to the negative 4, b to the negative 2 raised to the power of negative 1. So again, raising a power to another power, we're just going to simply multiply. So 4 times negative 1 gives me a to the negative 4. 3 times negative 1 gives me b to the negative 3, all over a to the negative 4 times 1 gives me a to the 4. And then for for b, I have negative 2 raised to the power of negative 1. So I have b to the positive 2, not negative, positive 2. All right, now I can use my quotient rule. So I know that if I have a quotient, I'm going to subtract my exponents. So I have negative 4 minus a negative 4. So I have a to the negative 4 minus a negative 4, which gives me a to the negative 8. And then I have b to the negative 3 and b to the 2. So I have b to the negative 3 minus 2, which that becomes b5 to the negative 5th. So therefore, I get 1 over a 8b5. Okay? I also want to take a look at if you do it the opposite way. So if you so choose to simplify the inside and then work your way out, you get the same exact answer. So looking at number 10 again, if I decide to simplify a4 and a to the negative 4th, so I'm going to have a to the 4th minus negative 4, which becomes a to the 8th, and then I have b, which is 3 to the negative 2, which gives me b to the 5th. So I end up with a8 b to the 5th, but I can't forget that it's all raised to the power of negative 1. Again, I have to multiply, so I get a to the negative 8, b to the negative 5. Again, I cannot leave that in my numerator, so I have to drop it down to my denominator. So whether you simplify the inside or simplify the outside, you still get the same answer. All right, now it is time for your challenge problem. So I want you to try using the rules or the laws of exponents that are above. I want you to try to simplify this, and your answer you can put on this actual Edpuzzle video. We will go over this problem in class on Monday for our warm-up, but please make sure that you actually attempt the problem and try the problem on your own.